It's time for the podcast, which is all about the world of marketing on television through TV shopping networks and infomercials. Are we on the air? I'm your host, Sean Wilsey, and for over 29 years, I've hosted shows on cable shopping networks, generating hundreds of millions of dollars in sales. And now I want to be your guide into this world, explaining how it works, why it works, what doesn't work, and introduce you to the people who are making it the success that it is today. Just dawning on me as I'm reading this, when we return for our next season in January, so we're going to take some time off for the month of December. There'll be a couple shows in December, but then we'll be back in January. I will be at my 30-year mark. So I have to change that script because I will have hit 30 years in the industry on January 15th. And actually, that's introduction ties in nicely with what we're going to be talking about today, because every quarter I want to try and analyze the state of this industry, an industry which has been around, as we have chatted about before, for decades now, 15 years prior to when I started in it. So, wow, 45 years or so. That's hard to believe. But anyway, and as we talk about with all of our guests, what's the future? What is the future of this industry? And well, for a couple of the shopping, but anyway, so every few months I want to analyze, because, you know, the publicly traded companies have to come up with their numbers every 3 months, and so it's interesting just to see, because the numbers are going to ultimately tell the story, and at least for two of the shopping networks, the death of the industry is not going to happen, at least not in the foreseeable future for a couple of them. For a couple of the others, little different story. So let's go to the news desk here. Being old school like I am, whenever I'm reading a news story now, we're going to go back to the 1980s when you used to listen to an all-news station. I will remember as a kid listening to WBBM, News Radio 78 out of Chicago, and all throughout the newscast, the news day, they had the sound effect of the teletype machine going in the background, and so as I read these news stories, we're going to revisit that classic sound effect. So let's get started with a look at the news as it affects the world of television shopping. A surge of new customers for ShopHQ and other TV shopping outlets boosted iMedia Brand's third-quarter revenue. The company's 12-month rolling active customers grew by 20% compared to the same period last year, driven by 65% growth in new customers, the best new customer growth in over 10 years. Net sales for the quarter ended October 30th were $130.7 million, up 20% from the prior year period, and the best year-over-year quarterly revenue growth in over a decade. During the quarter, the company launched more than 25 new brands across its television network: ShopHQ, Shop Bulldog TV, and ShopHQ Health. Where'd my teletype go? The home and electronics segment of the business accounted for 17% of sales for the quarter. Jewelry and watches led the way with 44% of sales, followed by beauty and health. 24% fashion and accessories accounted for 15% of sales. iMedia's net loss widened from $4.7 million in last year's Q3 to $9.5 million, mostly due to $4.5 million in one-time transaction, along with interest costs from a bond offering. That last part, you know, that would almost make one say, wait a minute, you just said that the death of the industry was on hold for ShopHQ. As long as I've known that company, and again, full disclosure, I was at that when it was Shop NBC up until about a decade ago. It really is a different network now. It really is. In a lot of ways, different management teams in place. I only know a couple of the hosts there from when I was working there. So it's a totally different world there. But no, they've always lost money. Always. Every quarter, every year, they seem to lose money. But the key takeaway here is the sales. Net sales for the quarter were up 20% over the prior year period. And remember, a year ago, everybody was home. Everybody was locked down. And ShopHQ did a great job pivoting to health and wellness products, masks. I swear to God, every time I put on that channel, they were selling masks last year. And the reason was they were doing well with it. So it's very interesting to pay attention to that and to see that even over what was a good year for them, that their sales went up. So that is great for them. By the way, do you know who's really good on that channel? Jen Vick. Now, I've never met her, but my gosh, if she doesn't wind up at QVC, I'll be shocked. I've never met her. Again, I really don't know most of the hosts there anymore. But I've watched her a few times. She is really, really good. Fatima or Fatima, I'm not sure the pronunciation of her first name, also very, very good there at Shop HQ. So those are just of the hosts I don't know. I mean, obviously I have a little bias towards the ones I know, but no, that Jen Vick, she'll probably be a QVC one day. If they survive, which we'll get to in just a moment or two. But no, so I think the picture is looking fairly good, at least for the foreseeable future for them. And we're going to get back into news mode here because in other news, sound effect. Shop LC moving headquarters from Austin to Cedar Park. The television network and online retailer will create 1,000 jobs with the move, making it the city's largest employer. The city of Cedar Park announced late Thursday that Shop LC will bring its national headquarters to the city. Shop LC, a television network and leading online retailer of jewelry and lifestyle products, will create 1,000 jobs with the move. That will make the company the largest employer in Cedar Park. A total of $50 million in capital investments will be made as well. Shop LC is currently headquartered in Austin, according to the release. Under the agreement, Shop LC will construct a 200,000 square foot facility near the intersection of East New Hope Drive and North Bell Boulevard, or US 183. Construction is expected to be completed by the end of September 2024. The move was approved by the Cedar Park City Council as recommended by the city's Economic Development Sales Tax Corporation at its November 18th council meeting. Established in 2007, Shop LC reaches approximately 73 million households via 24-hour programming every day, according to its release. It is an interactive home shopping network focused on jewelry, beauty, fashion, home decor, and lifestyle categories. And again, in the interest of full disclosure, they are my current employer. They are my pay-the-bills job, because certainly this doesn't do it. But it is impressive, and I think it's important to note that you don't build a facility like that unless you're doing well. And again, full disclosure, because I don't want anybody to say, well, he's got some sort of a bias there. It's a different business model, and I think the reason for their, I know the reason for their success is because they operate far leaner and far more efficiently than any of the other shopping networks. If you watch Shop LC, and incidentally, Shop LC and Shop HQ are not connected in any way. People often even mistake, because their names are so similar, the two networks, and they think they're somehow connected. They are not. Shop LC's parent company is based out of Jaipur, India, and therein lies the different business model, because they manufacture most of the product that you see. So they've eliminated all or so many of the middlemen. Even if a network has a branded product, their own merchandise, the traditional model is, again, that they outsource it. Someone is manufacturing it for them. And at Shop LC, see, even I'm getting it mixed up. I almost said Shop HQ. It's a different business model. And so you can be assured that most of the time they manufacture that goods from a factory they own or a facility that they actually own. So things look good for those two networks. However, big however, the recent, and I don't have a news story here. I'm just going to be reading from the press release and the earnings call for the parent company for QVC and Home Shopping Network. Remember, they're under one umbrella now. QVC and HSN are owned by the same company, the same parent company. They also own some other retail brands. But the reason I'm pulling this from their earnings call transcript is it's really telling, because that's where you try and paint a rosy picture. You are the CEO, sometimes the CFO will talk, and you're talking to the investors. You need to paint a rosy picture, and this is not the rosiest picture that they're painting, because their sales are down. They had, and again, in the business world, they care about earnings per share. They missed the estimate their EPS missed by 38%. Their revenue missed estimates by 6.81%. So that's a big miss in the business world, to miss what is estimated to be your revenue and what the investors are looking for as far as earnings. Sales were actually down in the quarter. So David Rawlinson, the new president and CEO, said one of the things I think that's very attractive about the business today is that, especially on the streaming side, we're about every place you would want to be. We're on the interactive streaming shopping services, Roku, Comcast, X1, Xfinity, Flex, digital live streaming, and he just proceeds to read them all off, the different ways you can get it. We're large on the right platforms today, and then the same thing is true in social. We're on all the major platforms today. So he's kind of avoiding the whole issue of, hey, where's the money? Where's the sales? And he's just talking about the future, which is not necessarily a dumb thing to do, but it's kind of telling when you're, not talking that much about your sales or lack thereof. Our business is built on the foundation of long-standing relationships with highly engaged customers, expert hosts, compelling entrepreneurs, an established vendor network, and a talented employee base. At QVC US, our best customers purchase almost 70 items on average and spend more than $3,000 per year, which, by the way, I thought it was going to be more than that. I would have thought their best customers would be into 5 figures. So that surprised me. They visit our website more than 30 times per month and tune into our programming 18 days per month. And then they have a fancy slideshow where they put up the number of homes that they're in. Because, again, it's something like 70 million homes as well, not that different from most of their competitors. But here's one of the key benefits that they have, which is why these numbers and the sales being down is probably more telling for a QVC and an HSN. Anytime I visit a different city, I always see where the shopping networks are. QVC is sometimes on channel 3. It's there with ABC and NBC and CBS as its neighbors, to use the old term, on the dial. So they have really good channel positioning. For instance, where I live, Shop LC is channel 492. You have to make a point to find it. Shop HQ, I think they're 100 something. I don't know. QVC is somewhere in the 20s or the 30s. But even though people aren't channel surfing like they used to, if you're right next to an ABC and NBC or CBS, when people are pulling up their on-screen guide, for instance, you're going to see, hey, QVC's right there. And one of the things that they judge is how often people watch for 20 seconds or more. And their churn, the number of people that they have tuning in, tuning out, is actually very good. So they have a retention for people that do tune in. But anyway, I don't want to get too overly complicated on this. But the fact of the matter is that their numbers should be better. Here's part of the problem as to why a QVC and an HSN, I think, are seeing their sales down year over year, whereas Shop HQ and Shop LC are doing better. Here's the difference. Shop HQ, Shop LC, and JTV private, so it's harder to get their numbers, so I don't know. But Shop HQ, Shop LC, they're able to pivot on a dime. If a show isn't working, they'll replace it. If you're QVC, you're HSN, you have everything so planned out, so far in advance, you can't change. If I have a guest coming on to sell a candle, and I picked that just because I happen to be looking at a candle at the moment, I have told my customers, tune in, we're going to have Frank with his candles at 2 p.m. It's on my on-screen program guide. They're holding true to that. A Shop HQ, a Shop LC, I can't tell you how many times you look at their program guide, you click on the channel, and it's something else. Shop HQ was selling the Shack Grill recently ad nauseum because it was selling. And so they're replacing a diamond show with a grill. So your program guide says diamonds, but hey, the grill's selling, so we're going to do that. Frank's Candles might not be selling for QVC. They've already committed 5 minutes of airtime to Frank, and so Frank is going to be on selling his candles no matter what. They can't do that pivot. Is it frustrating for the viewer? Absolutely. If I'm looking at my program guide and I want to see diamonds and I put on and they're selling a grill, I'm upset. But it's a business decision the company is making, and frankly, they're making more money doing that. And hence the numbers Shop HQ just had. Shop LC growing so much they need to build from the foundation up a new facility, which, by the way, doesn't happen often, that a shopping network literally builds a new facility. HSN did it in the late 80s. QVC moved into existing. Shop HQ moved into existing. So that's telling if they're building from the ground up a new facility. So it's that pivot. It's that turn that the smaller networks are able to do that a QVC and an HSN can't do. They're committed to Frank's Candles. Shop HQ is going to say, to heck with the diamonds, we're putting the grill on, and they make more money. So anytime you watch these shows, if that's what's happening, odds are pretty good it's a smart business decision for the company. Do you see Invicta every day, every hour, sometimes on Shop HQ? Absolutely. Why? It sells. It makes them money. Just my little thought here, because I do get asked many times, having worked in Minneapolis for so long, what's going on there? I don't know anymore. Like I said, it's a different management team there. I know a couple of the hosts there. We don't talk about business that much because, frankly, it's not my concern. I mean, it's my concern because I have friends that work there and I want to see them employed, but otherwise, we have other things to talk about if I'm chatting with my friends who work there. Ryan Johnson, who will be on the show next year, one of my best friends in the world, the on-air guest for Invicta, and I don't think we've talked about sales maybe once ever. So it's they're doing their thing, and obviously they're doing it very, very well. So every 3 months or so, I do want to visit this topic because that ultimately answers the question, what is the future of this industry? Well, there you go. The numbers are going to tell the story. Listen, like, comment, share, please, and spread the word about Are We On The Air. I hope you will check me out on Twitter and Facebook, Shawn Wilsey. It's just my full name. Look for it, ShawnWilsie, and on Instagram at SWilsey. Thank you so much for downloading this edition of Are We On The Air. Again, the Steve Bryant episode will be continuing the first week of December. This has been a King Bobby production.
Yes, I know, Travis. That's why we give such bargains.